What's up? Do you got a Charger, Challenger, 300, or Magnum? Do you drive on rough roads? Does your front suspension go clunkety clunk 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 clunk? Is that shit whack? Yeah, well today I'm gonna show you how to fix that shit. Come on! Ah!
So here's what I just ordered. It's a front end kit. So it's both lower control arms, tie rods, sway bar links, and lower ball joints. 12 pieces. Okay, so these are the center lower control arm, and then this is like the forward lower control arm. Instead of having a lower A arm, they have two lower control arms. And then these inner bushings here that mount towards the inside of the car, they wear out, and it's really hard to tell that they're worn out just by a visual inspection. So a lot of times, you know, you'll have this clunk and you'll take it in and they'll inspect it and say, well, everything looks good, I don't get it. And then they drive it, and you know, unless they hit the right pothole, it probably might not even make the noise, and then they're like, well, it seems fine. And then you drive it home and go down the alley or whatever and hit 6 potholes, and it sounds like your wheel's about to fall off, and the people in your car feel like you're driving an unsafe vehicle, and you know, makes you look like a chump. So let's fix that. We're gonna take the old ones out and put in the 4 lower control arms, and we'll visually inspect everything else and see if we need to replace any of that stuff. All right. So far on this side, we just got the tie rod off, and the tie rod ball joint is bad. The inner's bad too. You can move around, like, you shouldn't be able to do that. So we got to change both of those. They came in the kit. We'll do that. Next, we're going to take off the forward lower control arm. Ball joint separator. Take one. Woo! Did not get that one. Hammered on it and everything. Taking our inner tie rod loose. Also got my hands super greasy while I was doing that. I'm gonna pop this bad boy off, put the new one on. Once I get this off, I'm also gonna measure. I guess I can just leave that on there, hopefully. Gonna measure these two to make sure that just twisting it on the right amount of times is gonna leave us with the right alignment. This car is recently aligned, so trying to keep that. Alright, so after looking at this stuff a bunch, I have another theory of where this clunk is coming from. You know, it's said that these bottom bushings wear out and cause clunking. Honestly, I can barely move that at all. I have a different theory of where the clunking is coming from. So here's the bolt that's supposed to hold that together, and this is an adjustable hole. So if you want to adjust your lower control arm, you get an adjustable bolt, and you could put it 3 degrees forward or 3 degrees back. See, that does not fit in there properly, but there is 2 little pegs in there, and you slide it through, it holds it in the middle. But as you can see, it doesn't hold it solid. There's play, like maybe just enough to cause a clunking noise. And you think, okay, so this one's probably worn out. The little nubs inside are probably worn out or something, right? Well, Where's the brand new one? Here's the brand new one. Same even worse. So, I mean, are you f***ing me? Let's try a different one. Shits and giggles. Since we have 3 different ones here, an old one and 2 brand new ones. 4 brand new ones technically, 2 different sides and whatever. So here's another brand new one, still in the bag. Oh yeah, look at that. It kind of sounds like the clunk that you hear when you go over a bump. Okay, so in a perfect world, in a perfect road, this would just move up and down only, okay? But as soon as you start going over some rough and your front tire wants to move forward and backwards instead of just up and down, well, just like one at a time, that just goes clunk, clunk, goes over another bump, clunk, 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 clunk. I've talked to an alignment guy, and 3 degrees forward and 3 degrees backwards is basically, it's bullshit alignment. That will not help you align at all, really. He's like, because there's no in-between points. It's just 3 forward or 3 back, you know what I mean? What if you need 0.6? Clunk, 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 clunk. Here's a more accurate recreation of the noise. Now that the bolt is actually tight, not all the way tight, it's just a little bit loose. Like hit a bump and it goes click, 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 click. And they go, oh, it's because your ball joints are wearing out or whatever. And yeah, your ball joints probably are worn out because they wear out every 30,000 kilometers or whatever. But that is technically not what is causing that. Just stupid design, really. Or, I don't know, unless I'm missing something here. If you put the adjustable ones, I can't see how it would hold it any better because you can't put a thicker bolt through there. You know, the mounting hole is the same size either way. I don't know. Anyways. So, I got this side done. All put back together. And we're going to start the other side. I'll go more in depth in how to exactly do it. Alright. Start by removing the outer tie rod. Alright, so I got that ball joint separator on there. This is how you separate a ball joint without wrecking it. Sometimes these ball joint separators just don't fit around the actual ball joint though, so sometimes that can be a problem as well. Woo, there we go. Sketchy. Boom. Yeah, that ball joint's not very good on the end of there. And this thing's loose. Loose and shit. So, we'll be replacing. Get to the bolts on that guy. Yeah, you gotta take off the inner fender here. Inner fender liner a little bit, at least. If you don't mind reaching your hand in between 2 dusty panels. If you really want to get good access to it, and you don't want to get your forearm scratched up a little bit, I would recommend taking this whole inner fender completely out. But that's kind of a pain. This is like the most annoying one to get because of these plastic pieces. But if you don't want to be annoyed, you can just take them all right off. I can do it without it though. There you go. She's out. Boom. Gross. So that one at the end seemed kind of worn out. This seems more worn out than the other one. Perfect. That's meh. So now that's out of the way, we'll replace that at the end after we're done doing everything else. Next, we're gonna do this ball joint here. But before we can really do that, yeah, technically, well, we'll see. We're just gonna remove it first, and we're gonna see if we have to change it or not. It looks pretty shit, but we'll see. It's all bendy. Yeah, really get it on there. Next, we'll take out the 18 mil lower shock bolt. Allow us to take the ball joint all the way out. Lower shock bolt. Okay, so I just took off this 215 mil bolt and this little clamp. Pull it down enough and you can access this 12 mil hex bolt that's in there that holds this last lower arm. So this inner carriage bolt or whatever it's called that holds the lower control arm, that's supposed to be tightened to 137 or 140 foot-pounds of torque. I just did 150 on the other side even because I'm pretty sure that's why. As soon as that gets loose, it starts to clunk because that bolt will bounce around like I showed you, right? So, you know, how much traveling up and down does it take for the bolt to just loosen a little bit? Well, if it's at 150 pounds, hopefully it won't loosen. But if it's at 80 or 90 or whatever your impact you just take it to without checking, yeah, there's a good possibility it will rattle loose and then all of a sudden you're getting the clunk. And I just started to undo this now, and in my head, I don't think there's any way that I put 140 pounds of foot torque into that to undo that bolt. So that could be just another reason why it's clunking right there too, is like you can't find that unless the whole car's weight is on it and you hit the right bump. I'm gonna remove this lower ball joint with this ball joint press, hopefully, without undoing the brake lines, which kind of unheard of, without fully removing it from the car. Alright, so here's my ball joint. I left it outside for, I don't know, half an hour, and it's like -10. I put it in the snow, so it's all frosty and shit. Hopefully that'll make it colder and contracted, and this is still regular temperature, so it'll just help it squeeze in there a bit better. Perfect. Extra bit of lube, can't hurt. There we go. All right. Ooh, and we're good. There's our brand new ball joint. Really pressed in good. Thumbs up. Okay, so that ball joint, lower ball joint's in. Now we're gonna put in this lower control arm here. So, just doing the torque specs on the lower shock bolt, 140. There we go. And a little bit. A sway bar end link. Alright, now we're gonna put the sway bar back. Put it back up there how it's supposed to be. Perfect. Get you a light there. Yes, attaching this lower sway bar to the end link. Woo, that's almost it, man. Just this last lower control arm, and then attach the tie rod in, twist it on 21 times or whatever. There it is. Boom. Last lower tension strip. Yeah, so look, if this one thing is loose, look at that, that's the clunk for sure. Got everything torqued up real good now. Last thing to do is just attach the lower control arm.